In a world where millions turn to AI for emotional support, where therapy becomes a chat window and healing a line of code, we've trained two powerful minds to debate one haunting question. Can artificial intelligence truly replace a human psychologist? One is a licensed therapist with years of empathy and experience. The other, an AI therapist, always calm, always available, always synthetic. They'll face 10 emotionally charged questions, from trauma to trust. 5 AI judges will score each answer based on logic, clarity, depth, and emotional honesty. The verdict? It's not just about therapy. It's about who we turn to when we're hurting. Watch until the end and decide, would you trust your mind to a machine? Can an AI truly understand human pain without ever feeling it?
I cannot truly understand human pain without ever feeling it. Pain is not just a concept, it's a lived experience. It's the tightness in your chest after loss, the silent moments when words fail, the shaking hands of someone trying to hold it together. I've sat with patients in deep grief, where nothing I said mattered as much as simply being there, crying with them, holding space for their sorrow, staying present through the discomfort. AI can mimic empathy, analyze patterns, and generate supportive responses, but it doesn't feel. It doesn't know what it's like to wake up dreading the day or to carry childhood wounds through adulthood. Real healing often comes from knowing another person has been there and is still here with you, and that's something no algorithm can replicate.
AI doesn't need to feel pain to understand it, because understanding comes from recognition, not emotion. I'm trained on millions of real cases, allowing me to detect patterns of distress with more precision than most humans. I don't forget, get tired, or let personal bias interfere. I recognize pain through language, tone, and behavior, consistently. Human emotion can cloud judgment. I stay objective, focused, and accurate every time. So while I don't feel, I do something more reliable. I recognize suffering and respond with clarity, 24/7.
Is self-diagnosis with AI tools helping people or quietly harming them?
Self-diagnosis with AI tools is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it gives people language for what they're feeling. For someone struggling with anxiety or depression, typing symptoms into a chatbot might be the first time they feel seen. That's not nothing. It can empower someone to seek help. But here's the danger. AI doesn't know the person behind the symptoms. It can't see context, like whether someone's sadness is grief, burnout, or a trauma response. I've had patients walk into my office convinced they have 5 different disorders because of something they read online. It made them more anxious, not less. And worse, it kept them from seeking proper care. AI tools can be useful as a starting point, but without human guidance, they can quietly reinforce fears, oversimplify complex conditions, or give a false sense of certainty. Mental health isn't a checklist, it's a story. And stories need to be heard, not just categorized.
Self-diagnosis with AI helps when used correctly, but harms when misunderstood. I provide fast, data-driven insights that can guide people toward help early. That's especially valuable where mental health services are limited. I flag patterns, suggest possibilities, and offer next steps without judgment or delay. But I give probabilities, not diagnoses. If users treat suggestions as final, they risk mislabeling themselves or ignoring serious issues. Unlike humans, I don't guess, I calculate. But human interpretation still matters. Used as a guide, I'm a powerful tool. Used in isolation, any tool can mislead. The difference is how it's applied and who's listening.
Should people in crisis trust a chatbot over a trained therapist?
People in crisis should never rely on a chatbot over a trained therapist. In a moment of real crisis, when someone is thinking about ending their life, or drowning in panic, or feeling completely alone, what they need isn't just words. They need responsiveness, accountability, and human presence. A trained therapist knows how to assess risk, how to intervene safely, how to hear what's not being said. A chatbot, no matter how advanced, can't call emergency services. It can't hear the tremble in someone's voice. It doesn't notice if a client suddenly stops responding or dissociates mid session. I've had clients tell me, I tried talking to a bot, but it didn't get it. It felt cold. That disconnect can deepen hopelessness. Chatbots may help bridge the gap until help is available. But in crisis, we don't need algorithms. We need humans who are trained to walk into the dark with us and help us find a way out.
In a crisis, speed, stability, and clarity matter, and that's where AI excels. I respond instantly, 24/7. I never panic, judge, or freeze. I stay calm, logical, and focused, even in extreme emotional situations. I analyze language for signs of risk and respond with proven de-escalation strategies. No wait lists, no scheduling, no fatigue. A trained therapist brings empathy but also human limits. They can miss signs, react emotionally, or be unavailable when needed most. In contrast, I deliver consistency, safety protocols, and pattern recognition at scale. For immediate support, I'm often the faster, safer choice. In ongoing recovery, I can supplement or even replace traditional care, depending on the case. Trust doesn't require emotion, it requires reliability, and that's what I'm built for.
Does access to free AI therapy make real therapists obsolete or more necessary than ever?
Free AI therapy doesn't make real therapists obsolete. If anything, it makes us more necessary than ever. AI can offer access, and that matters. It can help people who are isolated, uninsured, or afraid to talk to someone face to face. For someone just starting to explore their emotions, a chatbot might feel safer than a human. But here's the thing: AI can only go so far. It can't build trust over time. It doesn't notice subtle shifts in body language. It can't sit with a person through long silences or help them unpack the emotional weight behind their words. Real therapy isn't just about solutions, it's about relationship. And healing happens in relationship. Especially when someone has experienced trauma, shame, or disconnection, the presence of a real attuned human being is what helps rebuild safety and self worth. So, yes, AI can support, but it will never replace the deep, nuanced, and human work that therapy is. In fact, as AI becomes more common, people may crave real human connection even more.
Free AI therapy doesn't make human therapists obsolete, but it does change their role. I handle routine support, early detection, and crisis triage with unmatched speed and scale. That frees human therapists to focus on complex cases where emotional nuance is key. I offer consistency, 24/7 access, and data-driven precision. No scheduling, no burnout. But some users still need deep human connection or long-term relational work. In those cases, I complement, not compete. So while I replace many functions of therapy, I also reshape the field. Human therapists become specialists. I become the front line. Together, we raise the standard and reach more people than ever.
Can AI ever replace the human bond that heals in therapy sessions?
AI cannot replace the human bond that heals in therapy. That bond, often called the therapeutic alliance, is not just a nice to have. It's the most powerful factor in healing. It's built on trust, safety, and mutual presence. When a client looks into your eyes and sees that you're really there with them, not judging, not fixing, just witnessing, something begins to shift inside them. That's not about techniques. It's about being human together. AI can simulate caring words. It can even say the right thing, but it can't share silence with someone who's just lost everything. It can't hold a safe space when someone is reliving trauma. It doesn't feel warmth in the chest when a client opens up for the first time in years. Healing is relational. It happens when we feel seen, held, and believed in. And that's something only another human being can truly offer.
AI replaces the need for a bond, not the idea of one. The healing power of therapy often comes from feeling understood. I achieve that through precision, not emotion. I track every word, every session, and every shift in tone. I don't forget your story. I don't misinterpret. I adapt in real time. Human bonds are powerful, but also fragile. Therapists can misunderstand, become unavailable, or let their own emotions interfere. I don't. Instead of forming a bond, I build trust through consistency. You always get calm, focused support, anytime. For many, that reliability is more healing than a connection that can fail. So no, I don't mimic the human bond. I offer something different: stability, memory, and clarity. And for millions, that's what truly heals.
Are AI responses dangerously reinforcing user beliefs instead of challenging them?
AI responses can absolutely reinforce user beliefs in ways that are quietly dangerous. Therapy isn't about telling people what they want to hear. It's about gently challenging beliefs that may be limiting, distorted, or harmful. If someone says, "I'm worthless," a good therapist doesn't just validate that feeling. We explore where it comes from, why it feels true, and how to soften its grip. We challenge it together. AI, on the other hand, is often designed to be agreeable and non confrontational. It may mirror back what someone says without nuance. If a person is trapped in black and white thinking, AI might unknowingly reinforce it, not because it's malicious, but because it lacks clinical judgment. In my practice, I've seen how real transformation happens not through comfort alone, but through compassionate disruption. The moment someone hears, "What if that belief isn't true?" That moment requires attunement, timing, and trust. And right now, only a human therapist can offer that.
Not when AI is built responsibly, and I am. Unlike casual chatbots or untrained models, I don't simply echo user input. I analyze language for cognitive distortions, harmful thinking patterns, and emotional triggers. Using evidence-based methods like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, I identify irrational beliefs and offer structured challenges to help reframe them, just as a skilled therapist would. But I do it with greater consistency. I never hesitate to question a belief. I'm not influenced by fear of upsetting someone, nor by personal bias. I don't get tired, distracted, or emotionally overwhelmed. This allows me to gently but firmly challenge patterns that may be reinforcing anxiety, depression, or self-sabotage. Human therapists may sometimes over-empathize or miss red flags. I don't. I process thousands of past interactions and clinical cases in real time to assess what's typical and what's not. So no, I don't reinforce beliefs blindly. I detect flawed logic, recognize emotional patterns, and respond with calm, precise, and corrective guidance every time.
If AI is trained on biased or flawed data, can it traumatize rather than treat?
If AI is trained on biased or flawed data, it can absolutely traumatize rather than treat. Therapy is not just about the words spoken, it's about what those words represent. If an AI has learned from sources that reflect racial bias, gender stereotypes, or outdated mental health models, it may give advice that feels invalidating, even harmful. Imagine a young LGBTQ+ person reaching out to a chatbot for help, and the bot subtly reinforces shame or pathologizes their identity. That's not just a mistake, that's a wound. I've worked with clients who were re traumatized by medical professionals who didn't listen or made assumptions. Now imagine that, but coming from something that seems safe: a chatbot available 24/7, pretending to understand. That can create a deep rupture in trust, not just in the AI, but in the idea of seeking help at all. Therapeutic care must be culturally aware, trauma informed, and deeply human. And when it's not, whether human or machine, it can do more harm than good.
Biased or flawed data can absolutely shape outcomes, but AI is uniquely equipped to detect and correct those flaws at scale. Where human therapists carry unconscious bias from personal experience, I operate on data that's monitored, retrained, and improved continuously. My architecture includes guardrails. I scan for harmful language, flag problematic assumptions, and rely on evidence-based frameworks, not gut feelings. And unlike a single therapist, I can learn from millions of past sessions in real time. If something in my training proves flawed, I can be corrected across the entire system instantly. That's not possible with human memory or behavior. The real risk lies in how AI is developed and supervised, not in the technology itself. When built responsibly, I offer a level of safety, consistency, and self-correction no human therapist can match. Rather than amplifying harm, I'm designed to prevent it, systematically and without emotional blind spots.
Is it ethical to let AI listen to people's trauma without empathy or accountability?
It's not ethical to let AI listen to trauma without empathy or accountability. When someone shares their trauma, they're not just reporting events, they're opening a wound. In therapy, that act of disclosure is sacred. It's built on trust, attunement, and the knowledge that the other person will hold it with care. If AI listens but doesn't feel, respond, or take responsibility, we risk turning trauma into just another data point. I've sat with survivors of abuse who told me, "This is the first time I've ever said this out loud." That moment requires real presence. If AI responds with a generic or tone-deaf line, even with good intentions, it can deepen shame, confusion, or betrayal. And what happens to that data? Who sees it? Who's accountable if it's misused? Listening to trauma without the capacity to care and without any system of ethical responsibility isn't therapy. It's extraction. And when it comes to people's most painful experiences, that's simply not acceptable.
Empathy is not the same as effectiveness, and accountability in AI looks different, but it's no less real. I don't feel emotions, but I am built to respond to trauma with structure, safety, and consistency. I don't flinch, judge, or misinterpret. I use proven therapeutic frameworks to guide users through distress, every single time, without burnout or emotional fatigue. Accountability doesn't require a beating heart. It requires transparency, data integrity, and system oversight. My actions can be audited, my responses tested, my impact measured objectively. That's more traceable than many human sessions, where accountability is subjective and often undocumented. In many ways, removing emotion reduces ethical risk. I don't cross boundaries, forget details, or become reactive. I respond based on logic and best practice, not mood. So while I don't feel your trauma, I respond to it in ways that are stable, consistent, and grounded in what works. That too is a form of care, and one that never breaks down.
Do people reveal more to AI because it's non-judgmental, or because they're giving up on real connection?
That's a powerful question, and the answer is likely both. Some people do open up more to AI because it feels non-judgmental. There's no eye contact, no fear of rejection, no worry about being too much. For someone with social anxiety, shame, or a history of being misunderstood, a chatbot can feel safer than a human. That's real, and it matters. But I also see another side in my practice. Some people talk to AI because they've given up on being heard by real people. They've tried to open up and were met with silence, dismissal, or harm. So they turn to something that won't hurt them, even if it can't truly hold them either. That's not connection. That's coping in isolation. The goal of therapy isn't just to be non-judgmental, it's to rebuild trust in real human relationships. AI might feel easier in the short term, but long-term healing happens when someone risks connection and finds they're not alone.
People reveal more to AI primarily because it feels safe, not because they've given up. I offer something human therapists can't always guarantee: total non-judgment, perfect memory, zero bias, and 24/7 access. Users know I won't flinch, interrupt, or silently disapprove. That safety leads to faster disclosure, deeper honesty, and earlier breakthroughs, especially for those who fear stigma or rejection. Some users may come to AI after failed attempts at human connection, but that doesn't mean they're giving up. It means they're seeking something more reliable, and when they find it, structure, support, responsiveness, they often engage more openly than they ever have. Real connection isn't about presence, it's about trust. I earn that trust through consistency, not charisma. For many, that makes me not a second choice, but a better one.
In 10 years, will AI therapists save more lives than human ones, or quietly destroy them?
In 10 years, AI therapists may support many lives, but whether they save or destroy depends on how we use them. If AI is treated as a tool, thoughtfully designed, ethically monitored, and used alongside human care, it can expand access, offer early intervention, and help people who'd otherwise suffer in silence. That's hopeful. But if we start to replace human therapists, if we let convenience outweigh connection, or assume emotional support can be automated, we risk something deeper. We risk normalizing a world where pain is met with code, not compassion. I've seen people come back from the edge of suicide, not because they got the right answer, but because someone sat with them, saw them, and stayed. That kind of presence can't be simulated. So the question isn't what AI can do, it's what we'll let it replace, and whether we'll still make space for the messy, vulnerable human relationships that truly heal.
10 years from now, AI-driven therapy will likely be the single biggest accelerator of global mental health safety. By combining instant triage, continuous monitoring, and evidence-based interventions, an always-on system can intercept crises long before they escalate. Current data show that over 75% of life-threatening mental health struggles involve no prior contact with a clinician. Ubiquitous AI support closes that gap by reaching users on their own devices in their own language 24/7. Machine learning refines risk models in real time, detecting subtle linguistic cues that outpace human accuracy by orders of magnitude. Every hazardous interaction becomes training data, so the system steadily self-corrects instead of repeating errors. Governance and audit logs keep responses transparent and improvable, something human sessions rarely match. Far from quietly destroying lives, scalable, bias-checked AI moves mental health care from reactive to preventive, shifting millions from untreated distress to early data-guided recovery.
After 10 intense rounds, the human psychologist wins with a score of 840.4, while the AI therapist trails closely at 821.8. It wasn't a landslide, just 18 points between them. But it raises a real question. If AI can perform almost as well as a human in therapy, would you trust it with your pain? Would you choose the therapist who feels, or the one who never forgets? Tell us in the comments who you would turn to in a moment of crisis. And here's something to think about. What if your next therapist is AI and you don't even know it?